Welcome to the part of the treasure hunt where we don't chase coordinates or granite formations. We chase the game itself. Today we dive into one hunter's reflection, and it's not about where the treasure is. It's about whether we were ever meant to find just one path. The post starts with a confession. Welcome to my brain. I pretty much overthink everything. And honestly, that might be the perfect mindset for this mystery. First clue, the MYST reference in the book. If you've never played it, here's the short version. You collect pages. You explore strange, beautiful worlds. At the end, you're faced with a choice. Pick the wrong book, you lose. Only one path leads to the true ending. So what if Posey structured Beyond the Map's Edge in a similar way? Three solves, three plausible paths, only one right answer. The rest? False gates, parallel logic, perfectly crafted near misses. There's also the idea of Plan B in the book, a few scattered references. But here's the kicker. Plan B doesn't work either, which suggests there's a third option, a hidden path, one you don't find unless you step outside the expected frame. Kind of like Indiana Jones stepping off the invisible bridge, or in our case, taking the turn no one else took, because it didn't look like a clue. Another passage that caught this hunter's attention, the office building Justin worked in, with identical rooms, all named after mountains. Sound familiar? It's a maze, a metaphor, a caution. Don't trust appearances. Don't assume uniqueness equals significance. Or maybe it's a challenge. Can you find the one room that's real? Now here's where it gets philosophical. Justin said there are no intentional red herrings. But what if the false paths aren't intentional? What if they're just equally plausible, right up until that final detail that lets you rule them out? Are those red herrings or just tests of discernment? One hunter put it this way: if it looks like a solution on the surface, but also has enough evidence to rule it out if you're clever enough, is that still a red herring? So maybe we're not looking at a book with one clear trail. Maybe we're looking at a labyrinth of logic, a riddle disguised as a memoir, a Myst-like puzzle where every false ending sharpens your focus, and every wrong solve makes the right one ring truer. It's not about misleading us. It's about making sure that when we do find it, we know. Not every mountain named in this story leads to treasure, but maybe that was the point. What if we were meant to make the wrong choices, just to learn how to recognize the right one? Keep watching the patterns. Keep questioning the logic, because sometimes the real answer isn't what's written on the page. It's what survives the edit. He called it the best time I ever had losing. 6 hours crawling through volcanic boulders, chasing confirmation bias like tumbleweed. The logic, vernal equinox, hope surges, sunrise symmetry, clear and bright. A dry lake where water once took silent flight. The poem's compass pointed in his mind to Lunar Lake, a vanished body of water framed by Mar craters and NASA test sites. It felt cosmic, prophetic, perfect. Round the bend, past the hole, he steered along US 6, the highway that skirts massive lunar crater, his hole. The asphalt kinks, then straightens. The bend. From that line, he cast his pole north, sighting a twin arc formation in satellite view. Two laurel leaf ridges, shaped like the coffee cup handles from Golden Greed. Was it a blaze? A victory wreath? On Google Earth, it shone. On foot, nothing. Celestial Checklist, 20th March, 2025 sunrise. Sun at 90 degrees due east. Moon at 20 degrees SSW, matching foot of 3 at 20 degree. Citadel Mountain under the setting moon, a gateway for his bride. T Corona Borealis, the blaze star, predicted to erupt near the Netflix premiere. Layer on Greek myths, Freemason echoes, Pink Floyd's Dark Side, highway mile marker math. The constellation of clues felt airtight, until it wasn't. The realization desert dust, no tackle box gleam, no mirrored proxy, just miles of basalt and the hum of doubt. He admits he lacks the time, energy, will, and intellect to crack the hunt, and yet celebrates the gamble itself. Life begins at the edge of your comfort zone. It's the best time I ever had losing. Lessons from Lunar Lake scope check. 1.8 million square miles means most solves will be wrong. That's normal. Confirmation bias. Even satellite shapes and cosmic calendars can seduce a sharp mind. Permission to pivot. Every failed BOTG frees data for the next hunter, if they choose to share it. The real treasure, 7 hours of windshield solitude, can be worth more than a silver box. He boards a red-eye back to Atlanta. Sore muscles, full camera roll, zero gold. But the desert etched something permanent. Proof that chasing wonder, even in the wrong state, can rearrange the soul. So mark Lunar Lake off the board or keep a pin in it. Either way, another map edge just expanded. Stay curious, guard your compass, and remember, sometimes the loneliest highway is exactly where the story needed to go. We often say the treasure's out there, somewhere in the wild, but sometimes it's hidden in the hunt itself, in the dust-covered roads, in the cold train windows, in the silence between expectation and exhaustion. This is a story from a hunter who walked further than most, not just in miles, but in transformation. The hope that surged. She never planned to be a treasure hunter. Single, 55, recovering from a broken neck, rods, plates, screws still holding her spine together, a sedentary job, a country girl's past, and a poem that somehow reached out and said, "Start here." As hope surges, she found Hope Creek, Montana. From there, Wise River, Big Hole, the poem was alive in the land, a real-life path winding through atlas pages. The Missouri River called, a kingdom in Ursa East. She went, alone. Judith, the bride. In her solve, his bride was Judith. The river, the fork, the valley. She traced it back to Russell Point, hiked its edges, and paddled down the Missouri herself. A kayak cutting through the current, confirmation bias guiding every stroke. Then she saw it, the green triangle, a mountain with double arcs, deep maroon granite shaped like ears on a stone face. She climbed. She searched. Granite boulders everywhere, no treasure. But then, a flicker. There was a figure there with rainbow hues, like a scarecrow. A vision? Heat stroke? Something sacred? Whatever it was, she said it wasn't the treasure. It was herself, reflected in the mystery. The moment of surrender, after heat exhaustion, sleepless drives, SUV tracks etched across Montana fields. She returned to where she thought it might be. It was gone. Not stolen, not found. Gone. And something in her let go. She was relieved, because the treasure had already revealed what it needed to, that she could still go, that she could still fight, that she was still alive. The takeaway. She says she was duped, maybe by the lack of a countdown on the site, maybe by the illusion that there was still something to find. But what she found instead was something most of us never will: peace with letting go. "My real life is so much better," she wrote. "I hope this helps one of you. Namaste." Not every hunter ends up on top of a mountain in rainbow light. Not every story ends with a silver box. Sometimes it ends with clarity, with healing, with rest. To the hunter from Judith's Edge, thank you. Your story may not hold the prize, but it is a treasure. Namaste. Some solves don't start with poetry or myth. They start on a highway pull-off, facing a weathered sign in a river that never stops flowing. This is one of those solves, and it all begins just south of Dillon, Montana. Hope surges on I-15. You pull off I-15 just past Barretts, and there it is, a trail marker labeled Old Trail to the Gold Diggins. It's a forgotten waypoint, a whisper from the gold rush era. Back then, hope surged westward. Now, it surges north, just like the Beaverhead River that guides this entire journey. Water's silent flight. That's what the poem calls it. A river that flows in silence, tracing the same path this hunter follows. Landmarks in motion, bend, hole, and a pause. The Beaverhead bends through Dillon. Just after that, a golf course, past the hole. That's where our hunter pauses. Why? because it's his mom's favorite fishing spot. And cast your pole isn't just about rods and water, it's about intention, a moment to stop, to align. And from there, the journey shifts. Into Ursa East, to the bride and the gates travel northeast. Enter Beaverhead Rock State Park. There the hunter sees it clearly. His realm awaits. The rock, the mountain, is the hymn. And his bride? Not metaphor, but sculpture. A sandhill crane lifted in bronze at the park entrance. 1 foot raised, 3 toes in the air. Her foot of 3. Nearby, a plaque references the Beaverhead Gateway Ranch, with 30-million-year-old fossils beneath your feet. These are the ancient gates. Direction and division. To the head of the ruby, plot a bearing from the statue. Adjust for declination, and your path arcs. Straight to where the Ruby River empties into the Beaverhead. But the poem says, return her face to find the place. That's not the mouth. That's the head of the Ruby. And there, you find the next waypoint, Beaverhead Deer Lodge National Forest. Remote, rugged, beautiful. The road less traveled, hole in the wall. To get there, you leave the highway behind. Take Manita exit, drive 2.5 hours through mud and stone. Along the way, something strange. A driveway marked by an arch reading, hole in the wall. Is it a joke? A trap? Or maybe the checkpoint you're meant to pass? Eventually, the trail dead ends at Eureka Basin Road near the Ruby Divide. And in July, the gate opens. Beyond the gate stands a giant, Black Butte Mountain. At 10,500 feet, it fits the height range Justin hinted at. A climb to the summit reveals no box. But what about the poem's phrase, double arcs on granite bold? Could it be topography? Could it be seen only from above? Or are we missing something right in front of us? A monument of granite, a mountain with weight and memory, a place too wild, too exposed for beer cans and stray campers. Where we're left. So where does this solve leave us? With a hopeful hiker staring into boulder fields near the top of the world, with a crane's foot frozen in time, with a sign over a gate that reads like a final riddle. There's no treasure yet, but the trail feels solid, and sometimes that's the best any of us can hope for. If the arcs are out there, bold and waiting, someone will see them first, and maybe they'll remember this solve. They packed granola bars, iced coffee, a ham sandwich, and 1 Capri Sun. No compass, no map, no boots probably. But confidence? That they had in spades. This is the most wholesome chaos solve we've seen yet, and possibly the most honest. The arrow rock and the bedroom shelf. Let's start with the visual. A roughly arrow-shaped rock, arcs of a sort, near a fuzzy spot on the map. Zoom in enough, and what do you find? A bedroom shelf, Justin's shelf. That's the claim. And you know what? We respect the hustle. The driveway? Visible. The clue? Blatantly obvious, if you squint through time and pixels. 9-mile hole to Secret Valley Lake. Now let's follow the route. It starts at 9-mile hole, swings past Mom's shattered train window, crosses Grasshopper Creek, and drops you into the Secret Valley Lake, in Justin's dad's backyard. Straightforward, just like he said. Oh, and did we mention the trout? Yeah, there's a trout. That can see through a window to the sky. Look, it's poetry, people. No budget, no problem. They're not hiking far, they're not driving, but they're Ubering to the edge of glory with a dog in tow and vibes at 110%. They didn't bring cash. But hey, there's buses in the desert, right? And if not, well, it's fine. They're not worried, they're pretty set. The real treasure? Confidence. This might be satire. It might be dead serious. We honestly can't tell, and that's the magic of Beyond the Map's Edge. For every triangulation of Black Butte and Beaverhead Rock, there's someone rolling into the wild with a Capri Sun and raw determination. So here's to the treasure hunters who didn't overthink it, didn't underpack it, and definitely didn't let logic get in the way of a great adventure. We hope they don't meet a bear. We hope the trout keeps its secrets. And most of all, we hope that when they look up from that secret valley lake, the sky looks back and says, "Yeah, you found it." All right, folks, grab your sun hats and dusty journals because we are heading straight into the Egyptian desert by way of Montana. Or is it the other way around? What we just heard might be one of the most compelling mythological tie-ins we've seen yet in the Beyond the Map's Edge community. And I've got to say, the connections run deep. We're talking Horus, Hathor, ancient stargazers, and of course, Indiana Jones. Let's break this brilliant theory down. In Ursa East, his realm awaits. We've all stared at this line. Some went to Ursa Minor, chased Polaris. Others tied it to a general eastern direction. But this listener flipped the lens entirely. What if his realm is the sun's domain? In ancient Egypt, Ra, or later Horus, was the sun god, the all-seeing eye, lord of kingship, sky, and cycles. And where does the sun rise? The east. The eastern sky is his realm. His bride stands guard at ancient gates. Enter Hathor, the goddess of motherhood, love, and, you guessed it, solar protection. She was married to Horus and often depicted with a cow's head, celestial horns, and a mirror or sun disk between them. Ancient gates, think temples, tomb entrances, sacred caves, or metaphorically, transitions between worlds. This fits beautifully. And don't forget, the cow face and eye of Horus Maze seen in Golden Greed adds a rich layer to this decode. It's right there. Her foot of 3 at 20 degree. Now this one's juicy. The Big Dipper's handle, part of Ursa Major, has 3 distinct stars. Egyptians referred to Ursa Major as the ox leg, sometimes a hind foot or thigh, depending on the scholar. Could this be Hathor's foot of 3? At 20 degrees, you might be measuring azimuth from her foot to another fixed celestial body, perhaps the sun's position on March 20th, the equinox. Or perhaps it's the angle between the foot and the final location. Return her face to find the place. This is the poetic finale, the mystic GPS. Return her face. This could mean rotate Ursa Major, or her face, bowl of the Dipper, to face another cardinal direction. Perhaps south, the sun, or the moon. The Hathor connection? She had 4 faces, each guarding a direction. So maybe this line is telling us to use celestial alignment as a pointer, just like the staff of Ra in Raiders of the Lost Ark. Honestly, that mirror between Hathor's horns might as well be the blaze. And if that wasn't enough, someone in the community did mention a deep purple amethyst being part of the treasure. Well, guess what? Hathor was literally worshipped at amethyst mines. She's even called Lady of Amethyst in inscriptions. Come on, that's not just poetic, and that's precision. So where does this lead us? Possibly nowhere concrete. Yet. But this decode isn't just compelling. It's inspired. It shifts the hunt into symbolic territory. Not just boots on the ground, but mythos in the sky. It shows how Justin Posey might be layering Indiana Jones, astronomy, mythology, and personal story into a poetic masterwork that's less about X marks the spot and more about knowing where to look from above. What do you think? Are we looking for Ray's blaze or Hathor's mirror? Are the answers hidden in stone or written in the stars? Either way, it's a journey worth taking, even if the only treasure we find is ourselves. Our hunter starts with a powerful take. Looking up JP's family and friends to find property info crosses a line. And you know what? They're right. There's a thrill in chasing a riddle, decoding a cipher, triangulating a location with just a scrap of verse. But when we start digging into private lives, real lives, for the sake of finding a treasure, we're no longer chasing an adventure. We're just being invasive. Posey made it clear, the treasure is not on private property. That should be our boundary. So if you're looking for proof in Zillow listings or following breadcrumbs through a cousin's Facebook, ask yourself if you're hunting treasure or just stepping over someone's comfort zone. This one's spicy. Our hunter suggests that some people might be intentionally flooding the community with ideas, half-solves, and red herrings to derail others, and maybe even extract private theories in return. I'll say this, it's the internet. Not everyone's playing fair. Go get your treasure or shut up, they said. And honestly, that's not anger. That's clarity. There's a big difference between sharing for collaboration and flooding to confuse. If you're confident in your path, lace up your boots. Let your solve speak for itself. Now on to clues. Our hunter hasn't caught the Q&A yet, but is intrigued by talk of a cipher and what container the treasure is in. Here's what we know from community chatter. Cipher. Yes, Posey mentioned something about a cipher in the poem. Some believe it's hidden in the capitalized letters. Others say it's in the chapter initials. And a few wild theories involve BAIT or dots and circles. No one has cracked it with 100% confirmation, but the idea of a hidden message guiding us to a very real location? That's juicy. Container. Rumor has it the treasure is in a metal container, possibly a tackle box, reflecting light when the sun hits just right. Others speculate it's buried shallow, marked only by what can be seen from a very specific perspective. We'll keep our ears open. Controversial take. Our hunter hasn't read Beyond the Map's Edge in full. And here's the thing. That's okay. Some treat the book as scripture, decoding every paragraph. Others treat it as a reference manual. The point is this. The hunt speaks to each of us differently. If the poem is your path, that's valid. If the book is your Bible, that's valid too. Just make sure you're searching with intention, not spinning in circles. Here's where things get spicy. Our hunter went to a national park that wasn't on their radar, but ended up aligning with an early cipher solve, one they almost ignored. There was a connection between the name of the park, a line in the poem, and a real-life married couple from the area's history. Not to mention, the name matched their first-grade teacher. That's how the brain works, folks. And then comes the most cryptic piece. They tagged Justin Posey in an Instagram story from the park, and while he saw it, he didn't share it. Usually he shares boots-on-the-ground stories. Why not this one? Was it too revealing? Too close? Or maybe it's just a coincidence. Either way, it feels significant. If Posey's curating what he shares, that silence might be the loudest clue of all. And yes, when our hunter asks the age-old question, is JP still wearing blue? You better believe he is. Whether it's the color of Tucker's collar, the sky above a Montana ridge, or a symbol of hope and calm, blue has been a constant. It might not point to the treasure, but it points to him. And that might be just as important. This post wasn't a solve. It wasn't a flex. It wasn't even a comeback. It was a reminder to keep things in perspective, to hunt ethically, to listen to your instincts, and to maybe, just maybe, stop overthinking and start trusting your path. To the hunter who shared this, thank you. You brought heart back into the hunt. And to the rest of us, let's keep walking together. This one's for the tired hunters, for the ones who packed up, hit the road, got back home with dirt under their fingernails, and nothing in hand. Another Tucker just stepped up to the mic, not with triumph, but with a confession. One part frustration, one part revelation, and buried deep within, a sharp edge of insight that deserves a spotlight. Let's dive in. 2 trips, 1 empty bag. After 2 boots-on-the-ground missions, Tucker came back empty-handed. And not because of poor planning. It's the kind of disappointment that gnaws at you. You know you were close. You know you cracked something. But still, you leave the hills with only a sore back and questions you can't silence. WTF is left to figure out? And let's be honest, wish we've all been there. Gold-sniffing dogs and the word retrieving. Tucker floated a theory, not exactly traditional, but worth a moment. Maybe you need 10 bloodhounds trained to sniff gold. A joke? Maybe, but also a subtle clue. Why did Justin use the word retrieving? Is it simply metaphorical? Is it a nod to Tucker the dog, the loyal companion always ready to retrieve, even when we miss the mark? Or is the treasure waiting to be fetched, not found, placed in a location you must approach with direction, like a game of fetch, from a specific angle, distance, or even time of day? Hold that thought. Justin said in the Q&A that the first actionable clue is, as hope surges, clear and bright. And Tucker gives us a beautiful interpretation. Hope equals realization. That moment when it all clicks. When you're packing the car and the stars seem to line up. Maybe it's also Polaris, the North Star, humanity's eternal compass. Hope is clarity. Hope is direction. Hope is motion. This next part? It's brilliant. Tucker interprets water's silent flight as how a fish moves, gliding invisibly through its element, almost like flight. And so he searched. Trout Creek, Fish Creek. He checked them all, but came up empty. Until one reread of Postal Pilgrimage unlocked it, the reference to Anaconda. If we believe there are no red herrings in this hunt, and we do, then a throwaway reference to a giant snake movie seems oddly out of place. Unless it's not. Anaconda is a city in Montana, and even more notably, Anaconda Pintler Wilderness. Then came the clincher, the flood of French references throughout the book. One by one they stacked up, and suddenly a quiet creek revealed itself. La Marche. In French it means the walk, a journey, a march. La Marche Creek flows near the Big Hole River, just north of Wisdom, Montana. It fits the poem. It fits the location. And it's no coincidence that Justin infused so much French influence throughout the book, from bonne chance to references to art and myth rooted in French tradition. If you were building a treasure hunt based on metaphor, subtlety, and layered clues, this creek might not be the solution, but it sure as hell is part of the path. Tucker didn't share this out of ego. He shared it because he was done, but still couldn't shake that something here mattered, that something real had clicked. And sometimes those are the moments that help all of us step a little closer. La Marche, Polaris, retrieving, hope. There's poetry in this solve, whether or not it ends with a tackle box in hand. Thank you, Tucker. Wherever your next trip takes you, the hunt changed you and you gave back. That matters.